Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Infinite Snap podcast. I'm your host, ShadowDTV. We've got my boy Justin here, back to our scheduled programming as it would be. Thank you to the guests that we had on last week, Black Thunder. It was great having a listen to a different person's insight into the game. I guess a more casual trading card player, which was really cool. Guys, you might notice that I'm in a different location than normal. I'm actually on holidays at the moment, but I thought I'd bring all my gear along and get a couple of episodes in while I'm away for you guys. Justin, how you been?
Been pretty good. We missed you last week, but it was good to have Black Thunder on. I think you did a good job. But yeah, no, been good. Been playing some Marvel Snap, which is good.
Yeah, no, Black Thunder definitely did a great job. I had to listen to the episode on the plane, which was very enjoyable to listen to. Guys, if you're watching the video version of the podcast on YouTube, again, sorry we're not live this week. I don't have very good internet connection here, so I didn't want to risk a live show and it go wrong, but we will be uploading this as normal. If you're watching the video version of the podcast, you will see some numbers on the screen. Those will be the numbers of Snap Who. So Justin has played one round and is on 0 points at the moment. I'm going to be guessing this week. Of course, Snap Who, everyone's favorite Marvel Snap quiz game. All right, so yeah, sorry again we're not live, but we will be back in a few weeks, back to our live streaming, so stay tuned for that. But let's get straight into it. Justin, you've been playing some Marvel Snap. I've actually been playing a lot lately. I think we spoke about a few weeks ago how we've been kind of on and off playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's your thoughts on how the game sits right now?
I am really having fun with it. I'm playing this deck that I absolutely love. It's so fun and it's pretty successful. But still, yeah, like there's something about it. It's not like when we first started playing. I'm not sure if it's like, the way that we acquire new cards and stuff like that. I'm not really sure what's putting me off a little bit, but like it's still great fun. I'm still doing like all my missions, still doing the season pass, still doing everything like that. I'm probably just not really close to hitting infinite. I mean, I'm sitting at about 83, 84, so I'd love to hit 90. But I'm definitely not going to grind it out to infinite. That's like too much of a hard task. But I think the game's in a good state. I know a lot of people are complaining about like meta decks, or meta cards really. We can get into that later. But yeah, I think it's in a good state, the game at the moment, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I think the game is in a pretty good state at the moment. I think the lull is, yeah, with the cards, it's hard to get new content at the moment. I think we've got battle mode coming, which we will speak about coming tomorrow. As at the time of this podcast dropping, it should be out, so we'll definitely explore it next week. And we've got some big news about the battle mode. But I think once we've got some tournaments and some other community things to engage in, the game will start feeling fresh again. Like I think of other trading card games that you and I play, going to tournaments, things like that. Playing with people is the most, like, obviously you play to get good at the game and just have fun playing it. But like playing against people can be a very social interaction, and it can
Yeah.
make the game. I guess it can elevate your experience of I guess what's normally a solo game into a cooperative game where you guys can work on decks together, practice different matchups, things like that. So I think that aspect's going to really freshen up the game. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I really agree there. And I think like second dinner can I mean, the game has only been like out of beta for a few months or so. So I think that the game is still fresh. We can't have like super high expectations. They're obviously working on a whole bunch of stuff, and they've shown us that like they will deliver. That they continue to show us that they will deliver on what they say and new features. Um, I think like things that they can do just to get me more into the game is definitely like tournaments. Maybe they can actually support or host some tournaments. That would be awesome. Even like just the events like the Nine Beast Challenge, like just to make it. I don't know, just like it doesn't. Those events don't really grab me. Like make it a bit more involved for the player. I think that's one way to like. It's just another thing to keep me coming every single day. If I have more reasons to open the app, then I'm gonna have more fun. So I think there's some things that they can do, but I do think it's Second Dinner are definitely doing a good job, and they definitely will deliver.
Yeah, I think we've got to remember that it is quite a new game. I think as time goes on, they're going to add things. They're going to have more time to like be creative with things. Right now, they're just trying to get all the foundations of the game down. Obviously, battle mode's a massive one. I like, we've spoken about it before, but I think of other mobile games when they have community events like a challenge, you actually play the game to contribute. So in this case, yes, you get bonus points for having specific cards in your deck. But I think of things like Raid Shadow Legends. When there's a community event, you actually go in, play to deal damage to the enemy, and then as a like team, as a community, you guys try and defeat it. So even something like that would be really cool, where the challenge, I guess, is a bit more involved, like almost like
Yeah.
a not its own game mode, but like every time you log in once per day or once every reset, like every 8 hours, you can like fight it again, sort of thing. Like you
It's
just
it's
play one
it,
match and see how many
something.
cubes
Yeah,
you get.
it's just something to do other than playing the standard game,
Yeah,
which
yeah,
which is what battle mode is as well. Yeah, it's something to do other than play the standard game, which I think is what they need. I think a massive part, like when I played Clash Royale, a massive social aspect of that was clans or guilds. I think they're going to call it in Marvel Snap. I
yeah,
think when they introduce the guilds, I think that will also bring like a whole new breath of fresh air into the game, because then you can actually start a clan or join a clan and actually speak to people in game, maybe like donate boosters or whatever, and like it's a little bit more social, because like you said, it is a very like one player game. Like when I play Marvel Snap, I'm like on my own, not talking to anyone, just like focusing on the screen, whatever. But yeah, if they introduce more social aspects in the game, such as battle mode like they're doing, but I think more importantly the clans or guilds, I think that'll be really good as well.
yeah. I think clans and guilds are like for a mobile game makes sense. So hopefully they
Yeah.
add, they are going to add something like that. Hopefully it's like sometime this year would be really cool to see.
Mm.
But yeah, we've been through the development roadmap a few times. Yeah, you guys can see that on the Marvel Snap website. Tons of stuff planned for the game. Battle mode is probably the big, like the major one that was on the horizon. So we've got
Yeah.
some interesting news that we're going to be sharing later in the episode. But first up, let's go through the featured locations and the hot locations for the week. Just a note on this, I've been ramping up my Marvel Snap content again. Things are kind of died down a bit with work and things. I've actually got a bit of free time finally. I won't be doing too much while I'm on holidays, but when I get back, I'm going to be doing some stuff. But at the moment, I'm just posting some short, like just an image on the featured and hot location showing some cards that will help you with that location. So I don't know if you saw the one for Asgard, Justin, but like I
I
had a
did see
few,
that.
yeah. So just a few ideas for players. I guess it just and I'll be posting them on my Twitter and on my YouTube. Just a quick image that you can take a glance at, see a few cards, and go, yeah, that card will be really good with the new location. So I'm going to be posting those. So for the featured and hot location, that should give you guys an indication of what to play. So that's fun. I'm having fun making that. But let's go through Collapsed Mine first. Justin, what did you think of Collapsed Mine?
Collapsed Mine. So Collapsed Mine was the featured location. It reads, fill this location with rocks, skip a turn to destroy your rocks. Um, so I'll just run through my deck really quickly. I think I did with Black
Yeah,
Panther last week,
while
but
you're bringing that up, I found that location interesting when it showed up turn one. If you had
yeah,
nothing to play, it just always disappeared. Like it kind of
yeah.
didn't matter. Yeah, go through your deck.
So I'm playing a Zabu deck, and it's got no cards under 3 cost, so it's
Yep.
got no 1 or 2 cost cards. It's got Zabu Lady Sif, and then it's half the deck of 4 cost cards, and then the remaining quarter of the deck are 6 cost cards.
So
So
you're basically, I guess, unless it shows up on turn three, you don't really care, do you?
correct. So this didn't bother me at all, and it's one of those locations where I feel like, as a featured location, it probably can be annoying. But just thrown into the mix of the general population of locations when you're playing normally, I think it's a good location. It's one of those ones where it doesn't hinder you like that much. Like you can still win 2 other locations if you don't get rid of the rocks. But if you do want to get rid of the rocks, you just skip a turn. Like if you don't come across it that often, I think it's a good location. It's nothing too crazy.
Yeah, for sure. I think I didn't really have an issue with it either. I was playing like a Zabu deck, like you said, turn
Yep.
1 and 2, it doesn't matter. And if you're playing like a Zabu deck with Sunspot, which some people do, if you've got a Sunspot out there, you're skipping a turn and getting benefit anyway. She-Hulk was another one. If you're skipping a turn, the rocks disappear. You play She-Hulk next turn. So there's a lot of ways to just remove the rocks. And then, of course, if you play a Patriot deck, the rocks can be a benefit to some degree, having no abilities.
Also, maybe just a couple of interactions. I always seem to have funny interactions with the featured locations. So the first one was someone played armor on turn 2 on the second location. I hadn't played any cards there. They played an armor.
I can already see where this is.
Both
I
our
can already
sides of the
see where
board
this is going.
got filled with rocks. But then obviously because of the armor, they couldn't be destroyed, and the armor had 3 power. So that's like an auto win unless I could buff my rocks with like a Patriot or something or Blue Marble.
That's pretty
Which I
cool.
was not playing. So that was a cool interaction. The other one was funny. It was Collapsed Mine came up as maybe like the third location, but the first location or the second location was one where I can't remember. I don't remember exactly, but anyway, a rock ended up on the board. And when Collapsed Mine came up as the second or third location, I skipped a turn, and so the location reads: fill this location with rocks. Skip a turn to destroy your rocks.
Oh,
It
it
actually,
destroys
I
all of
skipped the
them.
turn. It destroyed all my rocks,
That
including that one that wasn't at Collapsed Mine. I don't know if that was meant to happen, but it happened.
that makes sense because the wording is destroy your rocks, not destroy the
Yeah.
rocks at this. Yeah, so that makes sense. So if you're playing something like Debris, or like that's interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty interesting. I mean, it's not going to come up that often because Debris is a 3 cost, so you're playing it after Collapsed Mine comes up. Oh, actually, it doesn't matter
Yeah, but yeah, like,
because if you skip a turn 4 or 5, yeah.
but
So
you're not gonna really see it that often anyway.
yeah, but it was interesting, definitely.
That's cool. Yeah, so I didn't have any issue with it either. I was just playing like Zabu decks where I'd just skip turns, or I had a Sunspot, so I was just skipping turns. So that was fine. And then Asgard. So Asgard, I just kept playing pretty much whatever I was playing anyway, and just tried to fight for that location. It was good for Silver Surfer because if I won that location, it basically guaranteed I got my combo every game because I drew most of my cards. Yeah, I think Asgard was fine for the day. Like it didn't feel too impactful that you had to play a specific deck.
Yeah, Asgard was fine. So Asgard reads after turn 4, whoever is winning here draws 2 cards.
Yeah, so I should have read that out.
Yeah, no, it's alright. I still just played my Zabu deck, so I wasn't actually playing 1 or 2 cost cards. So it was really hard to win Asgard.
Yes.
The downside about it is I play Darkhawk in my deck, and so when the opponent did draw 2 cards, which they most likely were, then my Darkhawk suffered pretty much because they're drawing an extra 2 cards, meaning Darkhawk loses 4 power that he'd usually have. But other than that, it wasn't too much of a big deal. I find that people overcommit as well to Asgard early. So if I see they're going all into Asgard, then maybe I try and spread my cards to the other locations.
Yep. Apologies. There's a bunch of dogs barking in the background that the mic might have picked up.
Oh, that's all right. I didn't hear.
But yes, yeah, you're right. I think it's one of those locations where so you said Darkhawk suffers when they draw cards?
Yes, because Darkhawk's ability is +2 for each card in your opponent's deck.
Yeah, but
So if they're
I get it. So if they're
if they're
drawing
drawing
cards,
then Darkhawk's losing power because there's less
yes,
cards in their deck.
yes,
Yeah.
of course. It's like a massive negative for Darkhawk. How are you finding Darkhawk? I haven't actually played with the card. I hear a lot of people complain about it. Do you think it's pretty powerful?
It's pretty powerful, but it's not
It's not like
I wouldn't say
overpowered.
I wouldn't say it's overpowered that it needs to be nerfed just yet. That could also be because a lot of people don't have their hands on it, that they're it's not being played that much.
Yes.
But I it. it's really not overpowered. Like if the opponent doesn't draw any extra cards, and if I don't affect it, like if I don't put any rocks in their deck or don't Black Widow or anything, then Darkhawk ends up as a 7 power card at the end of the game.
which is
So
nothing.
it's a 4/7 is like very, very average. It's probably a little bit below average.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's like not a big deal. Obviously, you have Rock Slide and stuff in your deck to buff him, but you know, Rock Slide like takes up a slot and is like not the best card apart from if you're running Darkhawk. Same as like Black Widow and stuff, like the average cards. So I don't
Yes.
think Darkhawk's overpowered.
Yeah.
It's a good card, but it's not like, you know, when I play Darkhawk, I automatically win that location.
Yeah, I think all the new cards have been pretty balanced, except the season pass cards. Season pass
Agreed.
cards have felt, and I think, like you said, they feel really broken because basically everyone has them. I mean, $15 season pass, most people are buying it if they play the game regularly, whereas
Yeah.
something like Darkhawk takes a while to actually acquire. So I feel like people have more time to figure out how how Zabu can be broken, how Silver Surfer can be broken. I'm sure there's ways to break Darkhawk as well, and like there's obvious ones, Black Widow, you know, re-triggering, you know, Korg and Rock Slide, you know, with things like Abomination Man. So there is ways to like
Absorbing
make it.
Man.
Yeah, sorry, what did I say? Abomination Man.
Abomination Man.
Do you know why I was editing some stuff today and Abomination is like my default image? When I'm changing cards. Abomination Man. I actually got Absorbing Man this week. So I've been having fun with that. Yeah, I've actually been...
Did you pull Absorbing Man?
No, I bought it with tokens.
You bought Absorbing Man?
Yeah. What else should I have bought? Shuri?
Well, Absorbing Man is dropping to 1,000 tokens to Series 3 tomorrow.
I didn't know he was dropping. Oh, yes, I did. I'm an idiot. He's dropping to 3. Yeah.
You just wasted 2,000 tokens.
I mean, to be fair, I don't really care that much right now.
Yeah, it's not a big deal. But I've got Shuri pinned.
Because Shuri will go down to 4.
Series 4.
Will that stay pinned? Will that stay pinned?
I assume so. I don't see why not.
I would think that it would unpin when they drop. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
That's my bet, that it unpins automatically. Nah, it shouldn't.
No, it shouldn't. And me and Black Thunder were saying last week that we've actually been... Well, he gave me the idea. He's actually been saving up his credits.
Yep.
So that when new cards drop into Series 3, there's obviously a better chance of pulling them from the caches.
Yes.
And then he'll just spend all his credits. So I've started doing that as well. But the only card I need from the Series 4 to 3 drops is Absorbing Man. So
yeah, that's cool.
I get him.
Yeah, when I say I got Absorbing Man like at the start of the week, but yeah, I forgot that the drop is as of tomorrow with the patch.
Yes, I believe so.
So I'll probably target Shuri next, I guess.
Yep.
As my next Series 4. Cool. I don't think I'd ever spend the collector's token on pool 3s anyway. I think I'd do like you said, just unlock them naturally.
Yeah, Series 3, you're gonna pull them. You should
eventually
pull them within like, what is it, like every 20 caches?
Even if it's 20, like
pull 3. I can't remember what it is, but like it's fine.
That's definitely fine. So I'll definitely, I think buying pool 3s doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I actually kind of maybe swung more into what you were saying a few weeks ago about buying Series 4 cards, just because like you get 2 Series 4 cards for the same cost that you get 1 Series 5 card. Like that's a massive difference. And
you're doubling your new card pool.
You're doubling your new card pool, and if like the reason I think why I agree with that now more is because we've seen that. Well, I assume or I've heard that they'll be dropping cards like once a month. They'll do a drop from Series 5 to 4 and 4 to 3. So like if they continue that, then it's great.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the only cards that make sense, obviously Thanos and Galactus are staying in Series 5 for now. So it makes sense. If you want those cards, just buy them. But I think anything else, just wait till it's at least pool 4.
I agree.
And like we don't actually know what's going to drop to 3, Series 3, pool 3, whatever you want to call it. So I think targeting pool 4 cards makes sense to me. Cool.
Yeah, unless the card comes out that breaks the game.
Yeah, for sure. Unless
Series
there's like
5, then I'll get that.
The most broken card ever.
That's what I thought Darkhawk was. I thought he was the best card that's like come out.
Yeah.
recently, so that's why I bought him. But yeah.
Cool. So again, if you want to see any of the featured and hot location like guides that we're going to be posting, I'll be posting them on my Twitter at ShadowDTV, but I'll be retweeting them on the Infinite Snap Pod Twitter. So if you listen to the podcast, go and follow the Infinite Snap Pod Twitter. Sorry, it's at Infinite Snap Pod. Cool. So battle mode, new patch tomorrow. We're going to be playing games against each other, obviously.
Yeah, sounds awesome. I actually got paired up against Black Thunder in a match yesterday or today.
Yep.
We both snapped, and I'm coming out, which I was pretty happy with.
Nice. With the win.
I felt bad because he's pushing for infinite. Yeah, but with battle mode, at least we'll be able to do that whenever we want.
Yeah, that's right. Like if we're testing a new deck, just be like, jump on, let's play. Yeah, so that's going to be cool.
Yeah.
So from what I could see, basically when you make a lobby, you'll get a code and then you send that code to the person you want to verse. Then they'll copy that in and then you will be able to verse. So I don't think we're actually going to have a ID system yet. Like you're not going to be able to add people as friends as far as I could tell from the announcement. There's no like friends system yet. I'd assume when the guilds come out, things like that, they'll look at implementing that. But I mean, this is fine for now. You can run tournaments, you can do things like that. So I think it's fine the way they've done it. Some big news that came out today about it is that they have actually the engineering team at Second Dinner have been able to have cross-region support ready for launch tomorrow. So you'll be able to verse people. Nice. Yeah, so we will actually be able to, if you're, you got friends that live overseas, we're here in Australia, so obviously we have a much smaller player base. So if we wanted to verse someone, on the other side of the world, we'll be able to do that, which will be really cool. It's just good for the community. Like, it's like, obviously we're going to be running any events that we run are going to be Oceania based, so like it'll be easier for people that live in Australia. The time zones will work out better, but the fact that we can just have anyone join events and like tournaments, things like that, is really cool. On that,
yeah, agreed, and same thing for us to join, other tournaments that other people are hosting.
Yes,
like,
for sure.
I'd love to be a part of whatever anyone's hosting, and I guess for us Australians, a lot of people will host like over in America or something like that. So. It'll be good to be a part of that kind of stuff if I can get around the time zone thing.
Yeah, that's the time zone thing's the hard one. Get up at 3 a.m. for your Marvel Snap tournament. So on that note, we are planning to host a Infinite Snap tournament. We're still figuring out the logistics of it. Obviously, the time zone will be most suited to people in Australia and in that time zone. But obviously, anyone will be able to join. If people want to get up early in the morning or stay up late at night to join the tournament, that's going to be completely fine by us. I'm still trying to think of a name. So far, Justin, I've got the Infinite Snap Open. The Infinite Snap Open tournament.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
I like it because we do have the Australian Open that just finished.
Yeah.
We have our yearly Grand Slam tennis tournament. So the Infinite Snap Open, it's open to anyone. So I thought that would be a neat name, but we'll workshop it. I'm thinking at the moment, once I've figured out the logistics, once a month will definitely be doable. Potentially once a fortnight when we get into the swing of things. And we'll figure out the date and time and everything for that. But I was thinking, it'd be great. We'd be able to, if people are using PC, we'll be able to stream the games. We'll be able to commentate them, things like that. We'll have the stream on a delay. So obviously, it makes it easier for us to stop people from obviously I don't expect people to cheat, but, we don't want to make it easy for people to do, especially if there's prizes and things like that on the line. So we'll definitely, have the stream on a bit of a delay. We'll be able to commentate, chat will still be able to engage with each other. So that'd be really, really cool. Justin, if, be happy to have you commentate some games, but of course, I'm sure you'll want to play in the tournament as well.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely make sure you can do that.
Well.
Yeah, I know you want to play.
I was going to say, man, I don't want to commentate. I want to play.
Yeah, I knew you'd want to play for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I'm super keen for that. That sounds awesome. And we've already got some of our friends that I reckon would be keen on doing a tournament. So if we can get some of the listeners as well to get on it, that'll be really good. For sure. I put the feelers out today on Twitter, and I had a few Australian content creators that tweeted back is this going to be for Australia? I said yes. The time zone will be good for you.
And there's a bunch of engagement on that. So I think people are pretty excited. Obviously, like I know there's going to be tons of tournaments like in America, Europe, but for us, it's just almost impossible to play those, especially if you know you're at uni, you're working, you're studying. You know, it's impossible to stay up till 4 a.m. for a tournament where you might win a season pass or something. Like it's unreasonable, but we want to participate in these things. You and I playing other trading card games, we love participating in like Pokemon TCG tournaments, things like that. But it's almost impossible for us to participate in anything on the other side of the world, even if it is digital. So it'll be really cool for all the Australians. We've got Australia, New Zealand, a lot of Asia have a similar time zone to us. So it'll be great to be able to do that. I'm excited. We'll figure out all the logistics. I'm looking at like setting up the Discord so we get people in the Discord, do pairings, automatic pairings, all that sort of thing. So it's going to be a ton of fun. So I'll definitely need your help with getting that all set up.
Definitely. Super keen. Happy to help.
That should be good. Shadow King. I think you mentioned earlier, you mentioned before the show that Shadow King is out today. Man, these cards once a week, it's a lot. I have to admit.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And they do not promote them. Like,
well,
I was on the app.
They post like once on their Twitter on the day it releases. That's about it.
Yeah, but I swear, for Shana, I think it was, came up on the menu screen. One of the pages, as you swipe through the menu screen, one of the pages was like Shana out today. Shadow King, I can double check, but like I haven't seen anything on the app.
Maybe it doesn't drop until tomorrow.
Nah, they always drop on a Tuesday at 2
Yeah,
p.m.
they normally do. Yeah. Well, I get what you're saying. It's like when you think of any other game when there's a new expansion, new cards. It's like that's all everyone's talking about.
Yeah, I want the card like just in my face. Like,
yeah, that's right.
It needs that's where it needs to be. Like it's a new card. It's like they should be trying to hype it up.
So
even though like not everyone can get their hands on it, but like.
So here's my thought. The problem with the tournament mode is going to be, so I think to start, we're just going to do whatever cards you have, you'll be able to use. And then down the track, we'll have like, a pool 3 and below only tournaments, just so it's fair for everyone. Because obviously players that whale and buy all the cards will have a slight advantage or a major advantage, really.
I think that's a good idea.
I think for battle mode, I think it makes sense that they just let you use any card. What's your thoughts on that? Because we're always talking about we want to try these cards. If I can go into battle mode against you, test out Shadow King and go, yeah, this card's good, then I will buy it.
That would be really good. I think maybe we've brought up that idea maybe once before. I think they should definitely do that.
Yeah, well,
they should definitely do that.
It would make running tournaments like 1,000 times easier.
Yeah, it would. Just say you've just started the game and I am a player that's like trying to get you into the game and we try battle mode. I'm going to have all these OP decks and you're going to have like just series 1, 2 and a bit of 3. So it does not seem fair.
Even if you like, you could like, intentionally just use a pool 3 deck to make it fair. But yeah, for running tournaments and things like that, it will initially be hard because if a new player joins, we want them to be able to join the community, participate. But if they, come up against Shuri and Darkhawk and Zabu every game, they're going to be like, I don't even know what these cards do. That's interesting. We'll see how that pans out. But yeah, so Shadow King. What does Shadow King actually do, Justin?
All right, so Shadow King is a 4-cost, 3-power card with the description, on reveal, set all cards here to their original base power.
Okay, yep. So,
now,
yes.
Originally, I thought Shadow King was trash.
Yes, you did.
Sorry, I didn't think he was trash. I just didn't see like why he was good. I didn't see all the hype.
And
like everyone's saying Shadow King's like definitely the best card.
I think if I recall,
season.
I said that out of the 4 new cards, this was the one I thought was the best.
Yeah. And so did a lot of people.
Yeah, and my reasoning for it was, and you can explain, you said to me you finally got the spice on how the card actually works. But I assumed it set every card back to whatever its original base power was. So Sunspot would go back to 1 power. If you buffed your Black Panther, he would go back to his original power. Is that how the card works?
Yeah, correct. So Yeah, so basically it works like similar to actually the same as like Valkyrie. Now I know people don't have her either,
Yeah.
but it affects like if you obviously if a card every card has a base power, right? So Sunspot its base power is 1. Its ability is not ongoing. It actually gets buffed at the end of every turn. So Sunspot starts at a 1, could end up at a 10, right? Shadow King comes down, it sets the Sunspot to its base power, which is 1. Now, if you're playing Sunspot and you're going for that infinite play on turn 6 or whatever, you're relying on that Sunspot ability, Shadow King just absolutely wrecks it,
Yeah,
puts it
for
back down
sure.
to 1. Like, that is insane. So, what it doesn't work on, obviously, is ongoing cards. So, for instance, Devil Dinosaur. Devil Dinosaur is a 5 cost, 3 powered card. So
Yeah.
his base power is 3, and
Yes.
his ongoing ability adds power depending on how many cards you have in hand. So if Devil Dino is like becomes say 9 power, and then you play Shadow King down, well, the Devil Dino is still like Shadow King will still set Devil Dino's base stat to 3 because it was already 3, but then the ongoing ability will add power depending on how many cards in your hand. So it's not going to have that negative effect that you want it to have on like a Devil Dino or most other ongoing cards. So I think
Yeah. I think this
it's
is actually how we interpreted the card. I think you made the
yeah,
point of it wouldn't work on ongoing cards, which definitely makes sense
yeah,
because you set it to its base power and then it does whatever its ability is. So I guess it's a little more niche in its use. Like it doesn't just shut down everything that buffs. But I think of
yeah,
things like if Blue Marvel is buffing another card, it wouldn't work.
no.
Whereas something like Spectrum, if Spectrum got played and then you had your Shadow King activate, that would shut them down.
Yeah, I can tell you like some just really quickly some cards that it'll work great
Yeah, go
against.
for.
So it'll shut down Sunspot, which gains power at the end of each turn. It'll shut down a Bishop. A
Yep.
Bishop was a really popular
Oh,
card like
Angela.
before Series 3. Yeah, Angela. Even like we see a lot of I used to see a lot of Ironheart play. Ironheart buffs 3 other cards, gives them +2. This will just negate that basically, and really shuts down like a Mr. Negative deck. Mr. Negative flips an Iron Man
Of
from a
course.
5/0 to a 0/5,
Go back
but
to
that Iron Man's
zero.
base power is 0, so it'll set it back to 0.
That's
Um,
powerful.
yeah, some obvious on reveals like I know you said Black Panther. Anything affected by Shuri will go back down to its original base stat.
Yep. So that would be a
Um,
Forge as well.
Forge as well. Taskmaster will just whatever it copied, it'll
Oh
go back
no.
to a 0 power.
Yeah.
Um, Apocalypse as well.
Ooh,
But
that's a big one.
Apocalypse is a tricky one. So probably one thing that I want to mention with Shadow King is you really need to be careful with your initiative. So if
Yes.
Apocalypse in particular, because it's a 6 cost card, you really have to be careful if you're trying to catch the Apocalypse with Shadow King. Not only do you have to get the right location, but you have to make sure that your opponent is revealing first.
Yes.
Because Shadow King obviously is an on-reveal card. They're probably the cards that Spectrum, and also, we're finally gonna negatively affect some of those destroyed decks. So Carnage will go back down to a 2
Ooh,
power.
Carnage, Venom,
Venom,
Rip.
some of those. So yeah,
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it seems like quite a strong counter card. This feels like
yep,
in the same vein as like Enchantress, Cosmo, Shang Chi. Well, maybe not Cosmo, but it's kind of counters abilities and can shut down like specific cards.
yep,
So maybe not as powerful as like Shang Chi and Enchantress, but I think it has a wider use. Like it doesn't specifically target, ongoing or on reveal. It kind of targets just a bunch of cards. And these are
yeah,
cards, and it's stopping abilities that would just naturally give them power.
yeah, correct.
So it's like,
And
if they're playing a Silver Surfer deck and you have, they have initiative, you can just completely shut that down.
yeah, you play Shadow King on their what's the
At
card that
like
duplicates
at the
itself?
location at Brood, yeah,
Brood. Like
and
if you
just win
play
it.
this on the Brood location, they get buffed. It's a Wong and a Silver Surfer, for instance, and they're going to get like plus 18 or whatever it is.
Yeah.
You just shut that down basically. So it's a pretty good card. What deck do you think this will
It's
go in?
it's a control card. It goes into a control deck for sure. I feel
Mhm.
like it's a card that you're reacting to what your opponent does. You're not initiating things. You're gonna see what your opponent does and then counter it. I definitely think it's a very control style deck it would fit into. Instead of you
Yep.
trying to get really strong, you're stopping them from getting strong. So I definitely see it going into a control style deck for sure. Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. What's the cost of Shadow King?
4.
4. Yeah, that's great. You can
4
actually
as were all of the cards that
Zabu.
came out, I guess, to pair with Zabu.
Dude,
Yep.
you think about that in like a Zabu control deck? That's nuts. You can play 2
Yeah.
cards and then also play Shadow King and just shut down their Silver Surfer. This is sounds like a welcome card to me.
It actually, like, now I'm actually keen for it, so I'll quickly just go back to the deck that I had. I'll name you the cards, right? So I got
Yep.
Zabu, Shadow King will not affect Zabu, right? I got Lady Sif. Lady Sif's not getting any buffs. I've got Dracula. Dracula's an interesting one. So Dracula will never get affected by
Yeah,
Shadow
because
King
it's
because
not
Dracula's ability happens after
at
the
the
end
end
of
of
the
the
game.
game. Yep.
So that's safe. I got Spider-Man, Ghost Rider, won't get affected because they won't get buffed. Darkhawk is an ongoing ability, won't affect it. Rock Slide, Jubilee, Magneto, Chavez, Giganto, Infinite. So they're all cards that like I don't
Yeah,
need.
you won't
Like Shadow
affect
King
them.
doesn't matter, and therefore that's why I feel like Shadow King fits into this deck perfectly. I would take out Jubilee, put Shadow King
Yep.
right in there, and I think I've got like a 10 out of 10 deck.
What's the Lady Sif for?
Lady Sif Ghost Rider combo.
Oh, so you're playing Ghost Rider. Sorry. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And Ghost Rider as well, because then
Yep.
I've got Magneto, Chavez,
Yes.
Giganto,
Giganto
and
and
Infinite.
yeah, so I'm basically playing the same list but without the Lady Sif Ghost Rider combo.
Yep.
I think Lady Sif Ghost Rider can help you win if you don't get Zabu, but I'm kind of playing it. If I don't get Zabu, I just retreat anyway. Is kind of how I've
Yeah,
been playing it.
that's like it's good, I guess, but you can definitely win with this deck if you don't get Zabu
Yeah,
and you pull off the Lady Sif Ghost Rider
Ghost
combo.
Rider combo. Yeah, I guess it just gives you
Yeah.
another way to win for sure.
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, I think Shadow King's going to be fun. No one's going to have the card anyway, so does it really matter? Uh,
Not really.
like 6,000 tokens. Is that the first card you're buying? Probably not. Cool.
Yeah,
So
probably not.
this one's a pretty simple question. They have made it known that tomorrow's patch, or when this is out, you already have the patch, that Zabu and Surfer are not being nerfed at this moment. When they finalized the patch, they hadn't actually seen the rise of Zabu and Surfer, which seems strange because Surfer's felt powerful ever since it was released. But like forgetting all of that, they are going to fix them within a week to 2 weeks. So they are obviously getting looked at. We don't know what the nerfs are actually going to be, but they have mentioned that. Well, before we get into that, what do you actually think of them being nerfed?
Um, I I personally don't think I personally don't think they need to be nerfed.
I'll give you the
Um,
stats. I had a look at Snap.fan today, and
yeah,
Seracle Surfer is currently, if you're in pool 3 and higher, Seracle Surfer currently gets the most average cubes.
yeah.
It's like
See, like,
0.58.
yeah, I can see how that happens because Surfer
Turn
changes
6.
from turn 5 to 6 drastically.
Yeah,
You know,
and the thing is, you're not. I think the problem is there's no way to really counter it unless you can guess where they're going to play him.
yeah,
Like if you don't know where Silver Surfer is being played, there's actually really no way to counter it.
yeah. All right, let me change my answer a little bit.
Okay,
I don't want them to be nerfed
okay,
because I enjoy playing both of them and
for sure.
I enjoy playing against them as well. But I think that they will be nerfed because but just everyone plays them.
What's your
Like
what's your
every deck
nerf?
that I come across.
Like,
Ooh,
do you make Silver Surfer negative and negative power? I feel like if
yeah,
you can't change his ability, if you change his ability to +2 power instead of +3, it just becomes a bad card, in my opinion. Like, why would you not just play like Spectrum?
Yeah, you're right.
Like, and just play good on reveal cards and just play Spectrum.
But like, does changing like their second dinner's quick fix to all of their
It's just
nerfs
power.
is just power, and I
Yeah.
feel like it's fine, but if they want to, I don't know, if they want to keep the card, I don't really know how to put it.
Do you go
I
cost
think
then?
I
Do you change its
just really
cost?
think
Do you change them to
they
a
should
4 cost?
change something else, not the power. But
4
Surfer
cost.
could go for a 4 cost, yeah,
And then you can only play 2 cards on turn 6.
and one can't be a 3 cost card.
Yeah, so
Kind
you'd
of
play
sucks.
if you play Sarah. No, but so if you play Seracle, Seracle. If you play Sarah, you could play a 2 cost card and your Silver Surfer. Sorry, you could play your 3 cost, which is now a 2
3
cost.
cost card and
Yeah,
a Surfer.
and a Surfer, and that's it.
Like, yeah, I think that's definitely the way to go for Surfer. Still viable.
It'll still be playable, but it won't be like super broken.
Yeah,
I think.
I think
Yep.
that's pretty good actually.
And then Zabu, just nerf the power.
Zabu's a tough one. Probably just nerf the power.
Yeah.
Make it like a 3-0.
Yep. So here's my thing on Zabu, and I've spoken about this before. I still believe that cards that let you play other cards cheaper are always going to be the broken cards. So my example is, so in Hearthstone, any card that lets you, they call it mana cheating. It lets you play cards cheaper. Or like an example is Jubilee. If Jubilee pulls out an Infernaut, that's insane. A 4 cost card gets you 21 power. Absolutely nuts. And then you think of Sarah before Pool 4 and 5 came out. Sarah was probably like the Miracle Sarah deck was like the best deck pretty much because it lets you play cards cheaper. Zabu lets you do the same thing. You're playing cards for half their cost. Like when you wrap your head around what it actually does, it's a powerful ability.
It is insane. If you're playing like a proper Zabu deck, you are playing 3 4-cost cards on turn 6. Like you should not be allowed to do that.
Dude, today
you should definitely not be allowed to do that.
Today I had the location that doubles that plays the card. It duplicates the card and plays it at another location. So I had 2 Zabus and my cards just cost 1. Like all my cards cost 1 pretty much, and then my Dracula takes a 20 power Infernaut at the end, and it was just impossible to lose at that point pretty much. To be fair, I've seen a few strategies that have been countering Zabu, and like people are targeting these decks now because they are so good, which kind of makes sense.
I've seen a lot more Enchantress. Like
yes,
today
for sure.
I got shot down so many times with Enchantress.
Yeah, so people are like actively targeting it now.
Yeah, that's why I think Zabu is good, but you can see what's coming. That's why maybe the amount of cubes that you win is not as much as a Surfer deck, because you know, if I get my Zabu down, then like I'm playing all these 4-cost cards. The opponent will probably retreat on like turn 5.
I definitely
if
get
they can
what
see
you
that
mean.
I'm doing really well. Yeah, but with a Surfer deck, it's just like turn 5 to turn 6, your whole board changes so drastically.
Yep,
and
for
like
sure.
they don't know if it's coming. And like you could be playing the ideal setup and then miss the Surfer on turn 6. So like, you know, your opponent might be thinking, oh, what if they don't have the Surfer? Like it's just, that's why it gets so many cubes.
I think it's a tough one. I still think anything that lets you play cards cheaper is always going to be broken. The big example as well, how could I forget, Mr. Negative, although not super popular now, Mr. Negative was just the most broken card because it made everything free. And basically, Iron Man became free to play. Like everything just became ridiculous. So I will always be the belief of that those cards will always be powerful. And so far, it's been true in Marvel Snap.
So do you think that Zabu can change the 4-cost cards to 3-cost cards?
I think that's the only way they make it not stupid.
Then on turn 4, they can play...
It's bad. It's bad. Turn 6, they can only play 2 cards.
2 4-cost cards. You know, it's not bad on turn 6, but it's bad on turn 4 and turns 4 and 5.
Yeah, you'd have to start playing 2 cost cards.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's a tough one, but like Zabu has made cards that were bad good. like Omega Red has all of a sudden become playable because you can play it cheap. All these cards that you never wanted to play at 4 cost, you will now happily play at 2. So
Yeah.
I think it is a cool card.
Crossbones is
Yeah,
like the
Crossbones
biggest one in my
became
eyes. Like,
playable.
who played Crossbones and never saw
No
Crossbones?
one.
Now it comes up like once a day.
Yeah, so I think we'll see what happens. But yes, the interesting news is that they have confirmed, the one of the second dinner engineers has confirmed on Twitter that they can actually do card changes now without a full patch. So they'll be able to do it server side and just have it happen in the game. So it'll just push to the game, so we won't have to update our client for card changes. So that's really neat. So it should be pretty easy for them to adjust these cards. I'm assuming that just is power and like cost. I don't think they'd like be able to change the fundamentals of the card. Yeah, I don't think they'd be able to change how the card works without a proper patch. But we'll find out. But I mean, that's cool that they can like make little changes pretty quickly, rather than us waiting, maybe 3-4 weeks for a change.
So if they've acknowledged that those cards need to be changed, why don't they change them tomorrow with the patch?
I think that's the thing. They need to still test it and make sure that it works. Okay. I don't think it's just like hey, we changed the number, it's good to go. I think they'd still want to test it for a few days at least. But yeah, so obviously they want to work on any bugs that come from this patch that they release. So we'll see what happens with that. We kind of gave our thoughts on how they might be nerfed. Cool. So I've just got quickly here a Marvel Snap player, Specimen, Gwent. Obviously, they were initially a Gwent player. They posted that they went from 0 to 100 on a new account in under 12 hours, and they've got footage to prove it. My question is, speaking to them, some people tweeted at them saying, what collection level were you? And he did mention, he was very transparent in mentioning that he was like at 180. He started a new account. He got all the cards that he needed for the deck he wanted to play. And he said it was just bot after bot after bot. And so he pretty much flew through the game with bots essentially most of the way. Do you think there's a matchmaking issue? Because like, say you get to infinite, and you're in pool 4-5, you're playing hard decks. Dude, I'm like at like rank 50, just playing real chill, and I'm coming up against like really good decks. Like I'm coming up against top tier decks, and it's kind of like and good. Let's not say top tier players, but players that at least know what they're doing. And I'm kind of like,
I think you can say top tier players. I think the matchmaking is definitely broken. I was actually talking about this with Tom not long ago.
Yep. Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. So it is insane that matchmaking is based off your collection level.
Yeah.
I get it. And I think probably more for when you're grinding out maybe up to series 3. I definitely get it. But now that like we are post series 3 and we're working on series 4 and 5 cards, man, more often than not, I am playing against players because my collection level is like 4,500 or maybe 4,700 or something. As soon as the season starts, a couple of days in, I'm playing against players that already have the infinite title.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say.
And it's because of my collection level, but just because I have that collection level doesn't mean I'm grinding out to infinite like every season.
That's right.
And that's where the issue is. So I definitely think something has to change there.
So that's my thing. So this guy, like this person, Specimen's gone to 0 to 100, which is like, it's cool. It's like clickbaity. It's like, hey, look what I did. They were very transparent. Like, let me make that clear. They weren't like, oh, I'm so good at the game or anything. They were just trying to show that it could be done. And I think it really shows a glaring issue in the matchmaking because I could start a new account, play for 12 hours. Like, obviously, you have to have some skill, but let's say even if it took me 2 days, 3 days, a week, I now get that cool card back for hitting infinite. I get the cool title for hitting infinite, and it's basically taken no skill because I'm it's a Smurf account essentially. It is a Smurf account, like in the truest sense. You are skilled at the game and you're coming up against not even real players. You're playing bots. That's the thing that's like insane. And now I'm sitting at 50 coming up against these people with the infinite title. And I'm like, but hang on, I'm only halfway through the ranks and I'm coming up against top tier like players that have hit infinite. they've got good cards, they've got good decks, they know what they're doing, and it just doesn't make sense. Like I think of other trading card games, Hearthstone, when I hit legend rank, that's when I start playing legend players. Like I'm not halfway through the rank system and I verse, someone in the top 10,000. So yeah, I definitely think there's a conversation to be had there about it. Yeah,
Definitely.
I think it needs to change at some point because it's making the grind feel really awful. I used to be at like 80, 90 and be like, yeah, well, I expect good players. And even back in the beta, I'd get bots in like the 80s and 90s. Now I get basically no bots, but I get really good players at like 50. And this isn't
Yeah.
me complaining. Like, obviously, I need to be good at the game. I need to play well to go up. But should I be experiencing infinite players at rank 40, rank 50? I don't think so.
No, you shouldn't.
Yeah, like
That is
that's
like
just
the
how a
easiest
rank works.
answer. Just no.
That's right. Like once I hit 70, 80, sure, if I'm in the 90s, put me against the infinite player, I'm almost there. So it just makes the grind kind of hard now because I start playing and I have a couple of 8 cube losses and I get a couple of wins and then I sit at 50 and I'm like, well, for the next 50 ranks, am I just going to keep coming up against infinite players? Like it's going to get really grindy.
And maybe I think that's why it has felt grindy for the last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
You asked me a long time ago if I think it would be harder to reach infinite after global launch, and I
said no.
said no. It has definitely become harder
Yeah, for sure.
since global launch, but I don't know if that's because of global launch or it's because of my collection level.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, if you were to start a new account, you would be absolutely cracked and you would just beat everyone. That's the
Yeah,
thing. That's like my point.
yeah.
Uh,
So I don't know. You're right. A conversation needs to be had there.
yeah,
Um, I don't really know. Like, the whole thing about Marvel Snap is, and I think like what Second Dinner aim for is that like, especially with like acquiring the way that you acquire cards,
yes,
is they want to make sure everyone knows that you can win with any deck,
yes,
and so you can put whatever pool of cards you have together and like create a competitive deck,
yeah,
and I just think that why are they putting collection level versus collection level if they think that you know anyone can make a decent deck and compete? I think that it should just be what your rank is on the ladder.
yeah. And
That's what should determine matchmaking.
I think potentially player base could also affect that. Like I feel like if there was like in Australia, there's probably not as many people playing the game at all moments of the day. Whereas if we had there was no region, like if I was playing against people in America, it would maybe be
Yep.
easy to pair me with people at like when it's midnight for me.
Yep.
So yeah, I think that also could be an issue with it as well. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll keep playing. I'll see. We'll go through our thoughts in a month or two. But I think it is now time for us to get into. That was pretty much all our topics for today. So we're going to play a quick game of Snap Who. Justin, you are currently on 0 points. Do you want to explain to the listeners how the game works?
All right. So how the game works is, I will give Shadow a location. I have prepared a picture of the location and I've blacked out the title and the ability. And Shadow will describe that to the listeners, the location, and then he will have to tell me what the location is called and what the ability of the location is, and he'll get a point for each to a maximum of 2 points.
Okay, so I've got the location here. It's up on the screen if you're watching the video version of the podcast. So it's a pink colored background. It looks like a portal in the sky. There's like a big tree trunk and there's whatever that is, like a bridge. And there seems to be 2 people on it. It's hard to make out who they actually are. There's some weird flying bug things. There's like a beam hitting some rock face. Look, I have no idea. The only thing I can really think of, because it is like really wacky, is like Weird
Yep.
World. But then I think like there's so many locations in Marvel Snap that are just weird.
Yep.
But to be honest, I can't actually think of anything else. So I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think of locations that do strange things. But I can't really think of anything else that it could be. I feel like Weird World is my only logical guess, but I don't know. There is a lot of weird things going on. So, I mean, it kind
Yeah,
of makes sense.
I don't think I don't think I can really give you a hint
Okay.
without giving it away.
Okay.
What can I really tell
Is
you
it
about
from a
this
specific,
location?
like, is it linked to a specific character?
I can tell you that the location is home of the Sleepwalkers. I've just looked it up. You
That
probably won't
doesn't
get this
help
from
me.
any of the
Yeah.
movies or anything. It's all right. It is the connection, right, between the astral realm and the dreamscape.
Oh, it's not going to be Weird World.
It's to do with celestials.
Oh. Oh, damn. Can you read that again? It's the space between.
It is the connection between the astral realm and the dreamscape.
I want to say nowhere now, but then that doesn't make sense either because that would be really empty. I have to go with Weird World because it's the only thing that comes to mind. Weird
Yep.
World and the ability is, I'm pretty sure it's wrong, and the ability is you draw from your opponent's deck, from the other player's deck.
Is that
Yeah,
definitely what you're going
yeah,
with? Are you
that's
locking
my
that
final
in?
answer. I got no idea.
Yeah, no, it's wrong.
Yeah, no, I know.
Both wrong. It's like I know where you're getting at because it's on like it's that kind of weirdness, but this is actually Mindscape. And
Mindscape.
the ability of Mindscape is at the start of turn 6, swap hands.
Swap hands. You actually gave me a hint. You said Dreamscape,
I said dreams. I
but that
realized
doesn't.
after I said that, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty similar. I wonder if
Yeah,
you'll pick up on it.
I
But
think it
yeah,
was too on the nose for me to go with Mindscape. Not that it
yeah,
came to mind anyway. But yeah, I think Weird
mind the
World is
pun.
like. I think Weird. I think Weird World is like a I think it's like a mountain or something. Anyway.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a bit different.
but yeah, I need to be playing. I'm gonna play 10 hours a day to learn all the locations. I'm gonna
Yeah,
make it my homework.
when the locations come up in game, I'm like, oh man,
I,
if
I literally
Shadow
never look
gave
at
that
it.
to me in Snap Who, I would guess that. But then when you actually see it without the title and the ability,
Yes.
it's pretty hard to guess.
So my issue is I read the ability, I look at the name, I literally ignore the artwork. Like unless it's super
Yeah, yeah,
obvious, I don't
yeah.
actually like actively think about that, which is, it's kind of silly because we look at all the card artwork and then I ignore the location artwork even though it's pretty neat. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's my bad really. I need to appreciate the artwork in the game more.
So
Well,
can you tell
Justin,
me how? I can't see our cards right now. So how we're doing it is our cost, how many times we've
sorry.
played
So
the
yes. So
game,
the
and our
cost is how many?
power.
Yes, the cost is how many times you've played, and then your power will
Yeah,
be how many you've got right. So essentially,
I like that.
yeah. So like if you've played 6 times and you've gotten 5 points, you'll be 6 5 cost. A 6 cost,
Yeah,
5 power. So
that's really good.
the stronger you're gonna be.
Yeah, I like it.
Cool. Well, guys, that wraps up another episode of the Infinite Snap podcast. We've got a bunch of news coming over the next few weeks. We're going to have more information about our tournament mode. I'm going to have a few ways you guys can support the podcast. Financially, if you'd like to. Obviously, right now we've been an ad-free podcast, and I'm hoping to keep it that way if we can. Obviously, we're not expecting to make any crazy amounts of money or anything through the podcast, but just to it'd be a way for us to, I guess, support the tournaments in a way where we can have prizes and I guess the more resources we have, the better the prizes can be, the more people we can facilitate. So I'm going to have a bunch of news about that, but again, really excited for the tournament mode. If you aren't already, join our Discord. You can find the link to our Discord on the Twitter account at Infinite Snap Pod. I'll make sure the Discord is there. But if you want to go to it now, you go to discord.io/ShadowDTV and that'll take you to the Discord. Join up. There's a chat in there. You guys can chat about the game, and soon we'll have all the tournament resources up, the rules, how everything's going to work, how you can register. It's going to be free, so definitely join up, and it'll be great to have you guys in there as a community, chatting about the game and having fun. Justin, any last words?
Oh, I just wanted to know. I know we kind of had this at the bottom. I just wanted to note that you and I are playing in the Pokemon Oceania International Championship in 2 weeks, and I'm pumped.
Yes, of course. Sorry, I forgot that I added that in. So yeah, we're going to be playing the Pokemon TCG. You and I are both big fans of the Pokemon TCG, so we're actually going to be competing in that. For anyone, we'll give you more heads up closer to the date. But anyone that's heading there, definitely come. If you're there, shoot us a message. Message us. On Twitter, would love to say hello. It is a bit of a long shot. I'm trying to think how many people listen to our podcast and are also going to the Oceania International. Probably
You
not.
never know.
Probably not too many, if any. But if you are, definitely would love to hear from you. It'd be great to say hello. And if you're competing in the tournament, it'd be really cool to see. Get your thoughts on the Pokemon trading card game. And yeah, cool. Yes, I'm very excited for that. It should be good.
I'm keen as.
Hopefully we can one day organise a in-person Marvel Snap tournament in Australia. That'd be really cool. We'll discuss that. We'll see. We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, that'd be great. All right, Justin, it's been good. I'm going to get back to my holidaying, but I will catch you next week.
Definitely enjoy, and we'll be back next week.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.
See ya.